Ladies and gentlemen, panic has actually gripped cabinet secretaries and permanent secretaries who were appointed by President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, because William Samoei Ruto has barred them from leaving the country. I want us to look at the possible reasons why they've been barred from leaving the country. Because there is a memo, a confidential memo, which was signed by Joseph Kinyua, who is the head of the public service. Let me just go through that memo. That memo is addressed to the Attorney General. It's addressed to all cabinet secretaries and all permanent secretaries. The memo is headlined Transition from the 4th Administration to the 5th Administration. And I don't want to go through the entire memo, but this paragraph, which is significant for this particular analysis. It says, in the intervening period and infidelity with our growing constitutional traditions attendant to a transition from one administration to the other, we wish to underscore that ministerial actions during the transition are limited to general administration and stewardship over the ministerial portfolio. So basically it means all powers of the cabinet are no longer there. And it continues, as set out in our earlier circulars, it is reinstated that during the transition period, note this, number one, cabinet secretaries shall not cause any appointment of members of board management of state corporations or state agencies. You know, the cabinet normally have that leeway of making appointments. Just before William Ruto was declared the president-elect, President Uhuru Kenyatta actually went ahead and made almost 200 appointments to board members, board chairmanship. And I think that issue was raised by UDA. And it says, number two, cabinet secretaries as authorized officers shall not cause and or effect any ministerial deployment or any appointment in any rank within ministries and state departments. So if there's someone they wanted to promote, they wanted to move from this department to that, they cannot do that, which I think is just in order. And they're saying ministries, state departments and state agencies, MDS, shall not issue any new policy pronouncement unless sanctioned by His Excellency, the President. So basically, it means Uhuru Kenyatta, it means William Ruto would not wish to allow them to issue new directives for now. And number four, it says, ministries, state departments, and state agencies shall not effect payments exceeding 50 million without prior approval of and verification by the National Treasury. So basically, payments of tenders exceeding 50 million cannot be effected. So it means if there was a road somewhere which was under constructions, those payments cannot be made until a new cabinet is put in place. And it says, number four, which is my last point, which is actually the basis of this analysis, that foreign travels by cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries is further suspended unless sanctioned by the head of state and government. So it means if Fred Matiang'i today wants to leave the country, it has to be sanctioned by William Samoei Arap Ruto, who is now the president of the Republic of Kenya. I read that and I was like, hey, how things change. Because just the other day, Fred Matiang'i blocked William Ruto from leaving the country. So I want us to look at why the president is barring cabinet secretaries and permanent secretaries from leaving the country. Before we do that, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is now. Let us get back to the main issue. And by the way, I'm going to do a critical analysis of William Ruto's trip to the United States of America, what he has achieved and what he has failed to achieve, and maybe with a bit of emphasis on his speech, whether that speech would influence the way or the direction this country is going to move to. Now, let us now get to our main topic of today. Why do you think William Ruto's government has decided that no cabinet secretary, no permanent secretary will be allowed to leave the country? Why? In my view, the first reason why this is happening is that William Ruto wants to punish people like Fred Matiang'i, because these are the people who really frustrated him. And you know, in this country, there are people who are not going to know peace unless they'll make peace with William Ruto. Fred Matiang'i, the Inspector General of Police, the ICT Cabinet Secretary, Joe Musheru, Karanja Kibichu, and several others. So Ruto is simply telling them that you will not be allowed to leave the country. You will leave at my pleasure. So it will mean that once a new cabinet is formed, because William Ruto is planning to form his new cabinet anytime soon, if those appointments are made, then these guys will no longer be cabinet secretaries. But will those restrictions be released? I don't think so. I don't think so. So basically, William Ruto is using these to punish them, just to intimidate, so that they can feel what he used to feel before. So that's number one. Number two, I also tend to think that William Ruto is well aware that some of the cabinet secretaries who really frustrated him, some of the permanent secretaries who really frustrated him, are looking for jobs outside the country. And they might leave anytime soon. It is claimed that Fred Matiang'i has already secured a job with the UN. Yeah? And because he has secured a job with the UN, he can leave anytime. So Ruto is telling him that's what is going to happen. There's also some claims that someone like Karanja Kibichu has already received offers from universities to go and teach outside the country. William Ruto is not allowing them to do that because they really frustrated him. So for me, I think strategically, as much as it's a policy issue, William Ruto is trying to lock or to block these guys from the opportunities which they are already getting or which already they have. Otherwise, I don't see why he would stop some of these guys. Like if Matiang'i were to go to the United States of America, you know, he'll just go there and come back, or even not to come back. But the fact is, he can't go forcefully with that particular job. So for me, I tend to think that's the first thing. Number three, I think what the DP is also trying to do is also trying to manage any strategy which these guys might decide to employ towards the tail end of their stay in office, especially in regards to transfer of money. That's why Ruto is telling them that you cannot make any payments, you cannot approve any payment beyond 50 million. Because some of these payments, if they were to be made, they'll find their ways outside the country and they'll facilitate these guys to leave. And in my view, it has to do with the transfer of money. You know, it's a known fact that in Africa, once you get into power, you accumulate wealth. And For you to be safe, when a new regime takes over, you leave. And because some of these cabinet secretaries were sure that Raila Odinga was going to win, they were shocked now. So probably they are planning to leave. And this is why the DP is telling them, okay, you can leave, but not now. Because that circular is not even clear on, whether it's only for the official trips or even personal. Because, when you are a cabinet secretary, then you have your capacity as a cabinet secretary and a same capacity as an individual. So can, for example, Fred Matiang'i leave Kenya to go to US to see a daughter there? So those are the issues. Number 4, it's accountability. I think William Ruto wants to make these guys to account. Just the other day, we were told how 4 million was being used every single day to fund campaigns. Yeah, so Ruto is telling them, don't go, stay. Meanwhile, I'm sure some investigations are already ongoing. He just wants to make sure that these guys are accountable. And lastly, it could also just be William Ruto's strategy to oversee smooth transition from the current administration. Because if, for example, you are just to leave them like that, some of them will just go, even without handing over. Some of them will feel, okay, that's what you want to frustrate us. Okay, so I tend to think that it's all about William Ruto's desire to oversee or to experience smooth transition. I don't know what you think, but that's my take. Thank you guys, and please, may you have a good day. Bye-bye.